a la delegación de Georgia. Tiene usted el uso de la palabra, señora.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, I have the great honor to address this important forum on behalf of the Georgian youth. It has already been a year since the world embarked on a 15-year journey towards sustainable development, in which the youth have their triple-headed role to play as beneficiaries, partners, and agents of positive changes. Hereby, I would like to thank the United Nations for its efforts to keep young people informed, involved, and impelled, including the Youth Delegate program, for the national realization of which my deepest gratitude goes to the Ministry of Sports and Youth Affairs. In Georgia, the biggest challenge remains in what is the core message of the 2030 Development Agenda, ensuring that no one is left behind. Given the regrettable fact that over 20% of the Georgian territory is under Russian occupation, young people living in conflict zones cannot fully benefit from what the SDGs have to offer. Along the mass infringements on property rights, restrictions to the freedom of movement, arbitrary detentions, and even deprivations of life, I would also want to emphasize the linguistic genocide taking place in the schools of Georgian-populated district of Gali, Abkhazia, Georgia. Even on the Georgian-controlled territories adjacent to the occupation line, providing security is at times challenging. In fact, I would like to share with you an invigorating, but still a very distressing story of a champion. In 2005, 11-year-old Geno Petriashvili was kidnapped to the occupied territory of South Ossetia and released only after 100 days of captivity on a leash. 11 years later, he became a European champion in heavyweight freestyle wrestling and won Georgia a medal at Rio Olympics 2016. Geno managed to survive and make his dreams come true, but his nightmarish childhood experience has been haunting him in the form of the prescribed medication he's been taking ever since, and which, in 2014, almost cost him a 2-year disqualification and thus his championship. Human stories like this need to be heard in the name of those young Georgians residing in the conflict-affected areas. The international community ought to foster their hopes of becoming a champion, not their fears of turning into a victim of conflict. Yet, my country continues a speedy and successful development guided by the 2030 Agenda, ensuring that at least its 400,000 IDPs equally benefit from it. Within the 4-point reform plan on SDGs put forward by the government of Georgia, I would particularly emphasize the Solidarity Fund and innovative financing for youngsters suffering from oncological diseases, and Startup Georgia 2016, funding innovative youth entrepreneurial initiatives. Also, under the auspices of the Georgian Youth Delegate to the United Nations, there are 2 SDG-directed projects that I have spearheaded. Along the informative discussions towards SDGs 1, 4, and 8, a campaign for the popularization of vocational education has been initiated. Photos featuring young engine repairmen and electrician and workers alike were disseminated in social networks to convey a very positive message that there are many paths to success. The SDGs 3 and 11 were targeted by a road safety flash mob on the pedestrian crossing, raising awareness about pedestrians' rights to safe movements at the crossroad. Youth Delegate-led activities towards SDGs are going to continue throughout the year, ensuring the meaningful participation of youth in a Georgian society, which now stands at only 10%. Madame la Présidente, il reste bien à faire. Selon l'enquête mondiale des Nations Unies pour un monde meilleur, les jeunes en Géorgie donnent la priorité à la disponibilité de l'emploi. En plus, la majorité des jeunes sans emploi possèdent l'éducation supérieure, ce qui montre clairement que le lien naturel entre l'éducation et l'emploi est rompu. Plus de femmes que d'hommes sont titulaires d'un diplôme d'études supérieures, mais plus d'hommes que de femmes sont employés. Le déséquilibre de pouvoir et de responsabilité entre les sexes ne s'agit d'une seule discrimination économique, mais il se traduit aussi en autres pratiques traditionnelles néfastes, allant jusqu'à la violence sexuelle et sexiste. Pourtant, me voilà, la deuxième femme et le 5e féministe sur 5 jeunes délégués géorgiens depuis 2012, symbolisant une meilleure Géorgie, où les filles et les garçons disposent de mêmes chances de réaliser leur plein potentiel. De même façon, alors qu'il est très décevant de constater que 43% des jeunes Géorgiens perçoivent la stigmatisation du handicap comme une norme sociale, la Géorgie avance vers la création d'une société inclusive en développant des sports adaptés, utilisant des équipements spéciaux construits localement. Yet, no development can ever be sustainable without peace. The youth of Georgia, including Abkhazia and Skhin Valley regions, we are the torchbearers when it comes to the sustainable development of our communities, and together we can be stronger. We should come to terms with each other and say that we care, that we are ready to come up against the darkness of animosity and fear, social injustice, gender inequality, and most importantly, against ignorance and indifference. We have to realize our stakes and go all in. I thank you.
Agradezco la intervención de la distinguida delegación, embajador, gracias, y a la distinguida delegada de la Juventud de Georgia, y concedo ahora el uso de la palabra a la distinguida